on a Wall Street Journal article that was published on the 31st of October 2022, based on the ban of construction of gas stations and how it is used to combat climate change. My name is Nari, and the other members of my team are Neethu, Rohan, Niha, and Ashni. The purpose of this presentation is to know whether the ban actually increased the price of gasoline products, whether a rise in the price of gasoline will cause a relative rise in the price of gasoline cars, whether a decrease in the price of gasoline cars will lead to an increase in the price of electric vehicles, which in this case are the substitute products, whether an increase in the demand for electrical vehicles will lead to a relative increase in the price of electric vehicles, and whether an increase in the price of electric cars will cause an increase in the price of electric charging stations, which in this case are complementary goods. In the next slide, we'll be discussing the market share for gasoline. Now, the suppliers in the gasoline market belong to the oligopoly market. Why we say that they are in the oligopoly market is because there are few suppliers in this market. Some examples of the suppliers are Chevron, Shell, ExxonMobil. Also, we found out that there's a high entry barrier in this market. There's price setting ability in this market, and there's also non-price competition in this market. My colleague Neethu will continue with this presentation.
Okay, now let's see the country-wise gasoline sales in California. In this figure, the gasoline sales for the top 4 supply of 2010 and 2021 ranges showing a declining trend. This indicates that as the price of gasoline increases, there is a relative decline in gasoline sales. Then next, we need to examine the demand curve for gasoline with its rising prices. The same will show a declining trend. Cross elasticity of demand for complementary goods will be negative, which means if gas prices increase, the demand for gasoline and other alternatives like automobiles with gasoline engines will decrease, which means as the price of gasoline increases, the demand for gasoline cars reduces, and this results in an increase in supply of electric cars, which is the substitute product. Thank you.
Now we move on to demand and supply of electric vehicles. So we see that in the short run, what is happening, the quantity demanded is QD1 and the quantity supplied is QS1. And when we see what is happening, because there is an alternative market which is being created, there is a new demand and there is a demand curve that is being shifting to the right, that is QD2, and the quantity supplied which is shifting to the left, that is QS2, and there is the equilibrium price in the short run remains the same. The government energy department in California is stating that by the year 2030, the price of electric vehicles will be similar to that of gasoline cars. Therefore, in the long run, we'll see that the demand is acting aggressively and the price of electric vehicles will move up, this is known as the law of unintended consequences. The economic players in the market are reacting to the incentives in the market and they are similarly changing their preferences. Here we can see in the year 2020, the demand for electric vehicles was around 8%. That is the market share of electric vehicles. And by the 2022 quarter 3, we have seen that the market share is 18%. So there is a shift in the demand and the market share is also increasing. But at this juncture, it is hard to say what kind of market it is, whether it is oligopoly or monopolistic competition or what. The reason being because the current suppliers and there are new entrants in the market, but the number of players in the market are still not known.
Okay, so as Ashni has described, as with increasing demand of electric vehicles, it is very likely to increase in price of the electric vehicles. And as we analyze the cost of electric vehicles, it is very imperative to also analyze the cost of electric charging points also. There are three types of charging points that are level 1, level 2, and DC fast charging, varying its costs according to its speed of charging. For example, if we have identical electric vehicles which has a range of 150 miles and 40 kilowatt hour batteries, then with level 1, the charging cost will be around $7, and with level 2, charging cost will be around $12. And with DC fast charging, to charge the fully charge the vehicle, it will cost around $16. So we can see that comparative to fuel cost, the charging cost is really low. Thus, shifting from gasoline powered vehicles to electric vehicles will benefit the consumers. So, as the demand of electric cars is rising, the demand for electric charging points will also rise in the future. And thus, the prices of the electric charging points is also likely to rise. So, with as we can see from the chart that there are 79,023 charging points are there in California. But as with the government ban, people are switching from gas powered vehicles to electric powered vehicles. Then in the future, we can forecast that with the increase in demand for the electric vehicles, it is very likely to increase in the demand of electric charging points, and thus the price of the electric charging points is also going to rise. So over to Rohan for the next slide.
So, due to the burning of fossil fuels, a lot of changes are happening in the environment, and due to such climatic changes, California has become a region which is prone to wildfires. So, if, as we can see in the chart, in 2020, more than 4.3 million acres of land was burned due to wildfires. But the numbers are declining when we come to 2022, where it is just 362,000. As Ashni mentioned previously, the market share of electric vehicles is increasing, and in 2020 it was just 8% and it rose to 18% in 2022. So we can see that as people are shifting from gasoline powered cars to electric vehicles, the wildfires are also declining. Moving towards the greenhouse gas emissions which occur from the gas car as well as the electric vehicles, we can see that 9% greenhouse gas emissions occur during the manufacturing or end of life stage in a gas car. However, that in an electric vehicle, it is 17%, which is almost twice than that in a gas car. But if we compare the life cycle greenhouse gas emissions of in a gas car, we can see that 375 grams per mile of emissions occur during the lifespan of a gas car, whereas when we compare that with an electric vehicle, it is just 150 grams per mile. So we can see that if people shift from gasoline powered cars to electric vehicles, we can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions by more than 50%.
So with uh, so here we can see that the government policy is resulting in a change in the automobile market, and we can see that the automobile market in California is elastic. What is happening is the government is imposing carbon tax on the fuel, on the usage of gasoline as a fuel, to discourage people from using gas powered, and there is an alternative market for electric vehicles which is being created, and the government is providing rebates to the people to encourage them to buy this electric vehicle. To conclude, what we have seen, there is a government policy which was decided to ban the construction of gas stations. This has resulted in decrease in the supply of gasoline. There is an increase, however, as compared to the national average, there is an increase in prices, and therefore increase in prices of gasoline. Therefore, the quantity demanded for gas cars is decreasing, which has resulted into creation of a new market for electric vehicles. With a market for electric vehicles being created, there are electric charging points, number of electric charging points in place, and the market for that will also increase. With the market for electric vehicle charges increasing, there is a likelihood of the price of electric vehicle points also increasing. With that, we can see that the automobile market is reacting to the change by the government policy in place. And here we are seeing that there is economics in the background which is in operation. Thank you for patiently waiting with us. Here we end.